that rice around me. So when I got married at 19 years old to a Mexican man, I had to figure out how to make it. Of course, I messed up so many times. I had to figure out what works and what doesn't. Because I made all the mistakes, I can tell you what you should and shouldn't do. If you're like I was and you can never seem to get your rice to turn out right, or if you're just curious to see what mine's gonna look like, keep watching. So there are, I would say, 3 to 4 main components of Mexican rice. There's the rice, there's the chicken broth, the tomato, and garlic. Now, if you leave out garlic, is it gonna ruin it? Some might say yes, but you'll still have rice, okay? Personally, I like to blend up fresh tomatoes, but if you want to use a can of El Pato instead, it's gonna be fine. It's still gonna be good. 2 tomatoes in here, 2 little garlic cloves, some water. For me personally, there are 2 types of rice that I like to use when it comes to Mexican rice specifically. One of them is long grain rice, which I used for many years. And the other one is basmati rice, which I'm using today. It's a bit of a longer grain. Similarities that these 2 rice have is that they both require double the amount of water to the amount of rice. So if you have 1 cup of rice, you will need 2 cups of water or broth. I'm doing 1.5 cups of rice today. I'm gonna make sure that I have 3 cups of chicken broth. I have 2 cups of water, 2 tomatoes, and 2 garlic. I'm gonna blend this up. Because of the tomato being added to the water, there's going to be more liquid than I started with. I'm going to pour this into a measuring cup and see how much liquid I have now. Okay, so actually that kind of worked out perfect. So I have 3 cups of liquid here. I'm going to season this with some Knorr chicken bouillon. This is very salty, so you're going to use as much of this as you would be adding of salt. And if you're not sure how much to add, just add a little bit. Just add a teaspoon at a time and taste it to see if you feel happy with the way that it tastes. Now it's time to cook the rice. I'd like to go over a few things that I think do matter. So in my personal experience, using a large skillet works the best. In the past, when I have used pots, like smaller pots with a lid to make my rice, it would often turn out mushy. Rice just being able to cook in a thinner layer just kind of works better. So I like to make sure that whatever pan I'm using is non-stick. That way I never have to worry about my rice sticking to the bottom and burning. I'd like to mention that I'm using a gas stove, and I think that there is a bit of a learning curve when you're using electric versus gas. There is a difference, and I'll tell you more about that later. I'm going to turn my heat on to medium. I already have some oil in my pan, enough to kind of coat the entire bottom. I'm going to be adding a piece of onion. Some people like to put the onion in the blender with their tomatoes, and that's fine. But for me, I like to put it in here this way. This makes sure that the oil is flavored with the onion, and if anybody doesn't want it, they can pick it out. I'm going to be adding the rice, and we're going to fry the rice until it turns golden. I am just stirring the rice around so that all of it can get coated in the oil. Now this step is going to take a little while, but if you get tempted to turn the heat up to high, you're more likely to just burn the rice. And my rice has been frying for several minutes, and as you can see, it's starting to become like a golden color. See that? It's looking good. This is what you're looking for. Now I'm ready to move on to the next step. This is the point where I'm in that chicken tomato broth. I'm going to be adding some oregano and black pepper. Those are optional, but I like the way that they taste. Okay? Now this is the one chance that you get to mix the rice. This is optional. You do not have to do this, but I am obsessed with cilantro, and this has seen better days. It needs to be used up, so I'm going to put that in there. Now, we're going to let this come to a boil, and as you can see, it's bubbling. I'm going to add the lid. You have to have a lid, not optional. Now that it's boiling, I'm going to turn the heat all the way down to the lowest setting possible. Do you see this? That's as low as it'll go for me. We're going to let this cook. It's probably going to take about 15 minutes for the rice to absorb all of the water. All right, I set a timer for 15 minutes. Let's see how it looks. That. Right, you can see how the tomato kind of pulls up on the top, and that's okay. We're going to mix it in. So, but the rice is not done yet. It's like looking kind of wet. So we're going to cover it back up, shut the heat off completely, and let this sit for like 10 minutes. Now, if you are using an electric stove, your eye will stay hot for a while. I would say move it off. Move it to an eye that is not hot. And it's because you don't want to cook your rice so much that it becomes mushy. All right, let's open it up and take one final look. This is how our rice is looking. It's had a chance to steam. Give you an up close look. All right, let's plate up. Here's dinner for tonight. We've got our rice, guacamole, salsa, and some tacos.